What's up, good movie lovers, and welcome to a movie review for X-Men First Class. As usual, these movie reviews are filled with spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and are planning to do so, please stop the review in just a second after we give our rating for it. Jonas, what would you rate X-Men
Big screen worthy opening weekend. Like it was solid. It was good summer blockbuster superhero action movie. It's what you want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely pleasantly surprised. It was way better than I thought it would be, so I'm going to go regular price, big screen on a weekend night.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Friday, Saturday night. Yeah, do it up.
Yeah, it's definitely the X-Men movie we've been waiting for since X-Men
2, pretty much. Yeah, since X2, since Brett Ratner destroyed the franchise and then they did the spin-offs. So.
Yeah. So the story, thankfully he hasn't made a movie lately, so
I know. Like he's been in self-imposed exile, or I don't know what he's been. He's just enjoying his models and his coke money and stuff.
Yeah, he's like the new Hugh Hefner or whatever.
I think pretty much, his palatial estates and just kind of living up with the bath, in the smoking jacket and living by the pool.
Rush Hour 4.
More coke.
So the story of X-Men First Class is an origin story.
Another reboot, this time by going all the way back to the beginning with Professor X and Magneto, and how the class was first formed back in the 60s. They've taken great liberties with the actual comic book origin story, because in the comic book story, we have a lot of the characters that we had in the original Bryan Singer X-Men, like Jean Grey, aka Marvel Girl, and Cyclops. They aren't in this one, but we do have Beast. We don't have Angel as we know him as the real Angel. We have a stripper like, butterfly tattoo, like spitting fireball version of Angel, which I didn't particularly care for.
Herpy
breaths, yeah, Angel, yeah, exactly. Because you get the real Angel is in the Brett Ratner movie. We have him as a kind of like a teenage version
for like 2 minutes.
For 2 minutes, yeah. So
it's an origin story,
right? Yeah, we get Professor X, we get Magneto. I mean, that's the meat of the story. Yeah. The new mutants, like the kid mutants, are kind of worthless as far as character goes.
Saved by the X-Bell, the new class.
Yes, Saved by the X-Bell, exactly.
With like the ones that you never
heard of. Come to think of it, the kid that played Havoc looked a lot like Zach. A little bit. And you can make a case for the stripper mutant as
Lisa.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I like the little thing here where Professor X is the principal. And
who's Mr. Belding?
Who's Mr. Belding? I don't know. That's a good question.
That's maybe the scientist guy.
Right.
The guy who becomes Beast later on.
Yes, there you go.
Going in, what were you expecting from this?
I was trying not to get my expectations too high because the preview looked awesome.
Yeah.
Just the shots of Magneto like hoisting the sub up and then was holding all the missiles at bay from the island, and I thought it was like basically they were gonna prevent the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the missiles were going to launch at the U.S., and that's what that was.
That's what I thought it was, too.
And that's what it was. Badass, and then Matt Vaughn directing, which, if you've listened to our podcast, we're in love with because of Kick-Ass, And I love the X-Men, and I love Magneto. I love Professor X's and Magneto's origin stories. I was trying to keep it from getting too high going in.
I was the same way, where I didn't really research anything, look at any kind of, to find out who's in it. Or even who the actors are. I'm just like, okay, I want to go in just like pure pre-internet.
Right, yeah,
I don't know anything.
Pre-TMZ, just all I've seen is the preview, and that's it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So
and it definitely surprised.
It surprised, yeah. It was surprised, and we were talking about this, both good and bad ways.
Yeah.
Where I've never seen a movie where I've been so just back and forth between, oh my god, that was awesome, and that was retarded.
There are just scenes in here when you're just getting up, and it's kind of like that Kick-Ass moment where you're just like cheering. This is a great action, good characters, it's fun, it's funny. And then they do like a just okay montage of them recruiting everyone.
Right, and there's that weird shot of Moira McTaggart going, like somebody, if she had a beard, she'd be stroking it,
Yeah, and then they do that weird kind of 60s... Magneto and Professor X in the bed with the butterfly girl.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, when they're doing that, like the mutant, where we're going to find all the mutants montage, they go to the champagne room with the stripper mutant.
No sex in the champagne room.
And then Professor X and Magneto are just like kicked up on the bed, like chilling, like clinking champagne glasses.
Like totally Austin Powers.
Yeah, exactly.
This movie shifted from going to James Bond and Austin Powers at the same time.
Yeah, really, back and forth. And moments of I'm not sure if they were supposed to be funny, but like that line where they're in the big the war room headquarters, and like, we've got to destroy the island. And the one goes, one of our best agents is on there. It's just one agent. Well, she is a good agent. Like, was that supposed to be funny? Like, was that, because that made me laugh.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a perfect comedic pause, like that perfect beat of, well, there must have been like 15 to 20 minutes of character development of her left on the cutting room floor, because she would like disappear for a while, then come back. All of a sudden, she's flying the plane somehow.
Right.
She appears on the island. Like, it wasn't really clear exactly how she fits into everything. Her and Professor X are in love now for some reason, or briefly, before he mind zaps her and, wipes her. I did like how when they're on the stakeout in the beginning, when she goes into the Hellfire Club, luckily, oh good, I just happened to be wearing my sexiest lingerie today while I was on stakeout.
Yeah.
Like,
so I can perfectly
fit in here.
Absolutely.
I guess all FBI in the 60s, all FBI agents would wear garters and everything.
There's that hidden duality of character.
There we go. I'm sure that's exactly what they were going for, was the duality of character.
They didn't
and
think
the
about continuity
self.
or logic questions at all going on there. Not at all. Not at all. I think like X2 did like the best job of kind of capturing all the characters and kind of giving them each their own little story, developing them. Obviously, Wolverine was the main one. We wanted to find out the whole Weapon X thing with him. This one, I guess you could say, is more of Magneto's story.
It really is, and that's where it succeeds the most, I think, is when it's focusing on Magneto.
Yeah.
He is by far the most interesting character, not in the movie, in the X universe, I would argue. Here, his story of how his need for revenge, and the scene where he's in Argentina, and he's killing the Nazi guys. Just first of all, he's a super badass. His power is awesome. Like when he's just whipping the chain link fences around the guards and crushing the helmets on the other and like killing people, and just it's awesome. It's when he's bringing the submarine and deflecting the missiles. And it's just Magneto's super cool. He's really cool, and the fact that he's Magneto Nazi hunter in this one makes him even more badass.
That's a nice like postmodern thing where you can do like Abraham Lincoln vampire hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
Magneto Nazi hunter.
And Professor X, on the other hand, we never got a sense of what drove him, what made him tick. Okay, we know he's kind of like a spoiled rich kid. But what drives him to be so noble?
Right.
Where does that impulse come from?
It's like you never see his parents. It's almost like they died and he inherited everything.
I mean, we get a sense that he kind of, just from that brief interchange with Raven / Mystique in the very beginning, that like he had kind of an absentee mother, and like he was raised by nannies kind of thing.
My mother would never step in the kitchen.
Right, much less offer hot chocolate kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Why does that drive him to be noble? Why does that drive him to care about humanity and wanting to bridge the gap between the new generation of mankind, as opposed to... And it's scary because he has one of the most devastating mutant powers. It seems like he can like wipe memories and control minds and do Jedi mind tricks and like
freeze
do like
time kind of.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty much unstoppable. And so if he wanted to, he could be a incredible, powerful, and dangerous supervillain.
And he could go over to that dark side, that Magneto side.
But we never get a hint that it's even a possibility for him.
Yeah.
There's the most negative thing you can say about him. He's kind of a bounder. He's kind of like, a rogue, like with the ladies.
He's a womanizer. He's a little James Bond womanizer.
Yeah, which is a fun way to play him. I like that. He's got a little bit of hubris and a lot of like thinks he's kind of hot shit. Because he is to a certain extent. He has that really weird patter with the ladies about the mutant gene. I'm not sure how that goes over, like how that is wooing anybody, I guess, in the 60s.
I did like that they did it twice. So
so it's very clear that like it's his patter, like it's it's his line,
Yeah.
I like that.
And they really could have pushed the whole thing because Mystique has been living with him. He took her in since she was little.
Right.
So maybe she's watched him womanize all these girls.
Yeah.
She secretly wants to be one of them.
Yeah.
And what is it about him that needs to learn from this new experience of meeting Magneto and all these other mutants, and that's going to change him?
Right. The only character growth I feel like he develops is a result at the end of being crippled.
Yeah.
Like he kind of like has then a downfall from that. But besides that, his character is pretty much noble throughout, with the exception of being a womanizer. Like that never... I guess he never really understands why Raven / Mystique, he doesn't get why she would be pulled by Magneto, because like she says, he's been normal. He can hide it. He's been normal his entire life as far as anyone else is concerned. Yeah. And his superpower is bad. He can control minds and freeze time. She looks like a freak in her normal state. So there's that thing where like he can, that idea, if you want to put it under, race terms, of passing.
Yeah.
Like, he can very well pass, but people like Beast and her cannot.
Yeah. And I did like I wish they would have pushed it further, her and the Beast romance, because it's great that Beast is like, oh, you look good when you're in human form. And she's trying to get him to accept her for being in the blue form. And he ends up being blue also. Right,
which is, of course, the ultimate irony, is that in attempting to change himself and normalize himself, he makes himself into an incredible freak.
Exactly. And I kind of wish they would have pushed the character personalities a little bit more. They kind of just did enough to give us... Here's kind of who they are. He's a smart guy.
Well, but in this kind of movie with this many characters being juggled, you can't go that deep into any one character, unfortunately.
I would push for like whatever moment they have, just make it like 100% moment.
Okay.
Just go all the way. Like we don't need maybe extra scenes, but just more passion in the scenes that they're that they're taking
Right.
space in, because they have like that kind of. One scene was again cool stuff, and then they're all sitting around in like the X Cafe, and they're like, let's give each other names.
Let's give each other code names. Yeah, I'm gonna be Havoc.
And it was just kind of like.
Yeah, it's like really forced.
Yeah,
really forced. And like I guess it's a tossing a bone to the fanboys, but it's like I don't need some like little fake reason of why we're calling him. What was it, Darwin? Or like what we're calling him, the made up black mutant.
I want to call him the Adaptor.
The Adaptor, right? Exactly. Speaking of that mutant, I love there's a great scene where Magneto is trying to like is talking to them. Or is it Kevin Bacon? I can't remember. It's
Kevin Bacon. Yeah,
it's Kevin Bacon talking about like why they should come over to his side. It's like, you know, they'll imprison you or they might make you their slave. And it cuts to like the black mutant, like right to him. It's like I'm talking to you, black man.
Like a 5-second close up.
Yeah, like.
And even Darwin, after like a couple seconds, he kind of like looks around. He's like, when's the camera going to get me?
It's very uncomfortable.
And then
it's very weird.
Mystique has her kind of like pride moment twice, where she's like
mutant pride, mutant proud. It's like because Singer was involved in that. It's like, okay, Brian, you're gay, we get it. Mutant, gay, yeah, I understand. It's like. Yeah. He did it with Superman. He did it with the X-Men movies.
It's cool that you're using a popular vehicle to kind of, to bring it up, because I'm all for just like, let story kind of reflect what's going on in society.
Yeah, and the characters, and it always has the whole idea of mutants has lent itself to comments on race relations and sexuality relations and that kind of thing.
Growing up, being a teenager and
being
changing,
different, all that stuff. Yeah, but just. There had to be a better way to write it than mutant and proud. That's just clunky dialogue. That's just bad.
Yeah, it's just too soapboxy.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the first X-Men was doing it, it was still kind of when that was just emerging, like becoming kind of an issue, becoming accepted.
Right.
But now, 10 years later, we've had, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, all these shows, and like, Ellen's come out, all that stuff's been going on. So, there's an equality getting there.
Right.
And in Chicago, we just had the whole... civil unions being allowed now, so it's there. So you can put it, but now I don't think we need to have it so
right. The idea. I mean, I understand that there's the idea for Raven and the battle of being proud, taking pride in who you are.
Yes.
But then where that crosses the line, it's interesting though that those end up being the bad guy. It's like, and I found it also interesting if you'll note, all the bad guys are all the ethnicities. You've got
quote-unquote minorities.
Yeah, the minorities. You got Magneto's Jewish. You've got random with the Asian kind of guy, Windboy, like whatever we never even got his name. I don't even know. Tornado Man. Tornado Lad. I like.
And that's bad. When you don't get characters' names, that's a sign of like, okay, here's what we think of them.
Right, pretty much. Then you've got the kind of she African American stripper girl, stripper angel, with herpes breath. Then you've got Raven, who's blue.
And then you've got
who else?
The Nightcrawler guy.
Right, the devil, the Nightcrawler devil guy, who's like Russian or something.
He's very sharply dressed.
Yes, very sharply dressed.
That's why I want to be a bad guy. All the bad guys have the great outfits.
Let's point that also, I will say this. Great surprise seeing Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw. Wasn't expecting him in this movie. He was great, just chewing up scenery. I love how he's got like the posh, like again, Austin Powers-esque. He's submarines, like he's got a leisure pad in there. He's wearing leisure suits all the time.
Goldfingery kind of,
Again, speaking of goofy, like that cut where it's him in front of the big map wall with the plastic stuff. He gives that smile, like
like the magnet missile on there, and then showing the U.S. It's like, what? Who directed this part? Like, Matthew Vaughn's like, okay, I'm going on break for a day.
Why don't you take care of this? Whoever the DP, second unit.
Yeah, or like there was a YouTube contest of like, you get to film an X-Men scene. We'll put it in the movie.
It was really strange. It was just that random goofiness like that.
Or even like the whole Basic Instinct part where, what's her name? The Mad Men girl.
The White Queen,
the Diamond Girl.
Yeah.
She's sitting in there, and then like they're behind the glass watching her, and then she just walks up and cuts it with her finger.
And which is another strange part. If she can't get out, she just cut open the glass. Yeah. Why? I thought for sure she's about to bust out right in that scene. But no, she just stays where she is.
And she's got Professor X powers, so she could just make them think, hey, let me go. Yeah. And just open the door and do it.
Yeah, that's not explained very well. Or
there were a lot of moments like that. That's why, like, X2, even X1, they have it where, like, it's just the coherent whole, where every scene is just so
especially
tight together.
X2 is just... Well, it's interesting when you look at superhero movies, so often the sequel is the superior film. X2 is fantastic. Spider-Man 2 is fantastic. Superman 2 is, I think, commonly held up as the standard of the genre.